Autumn's Embrace, Chapter 12. The days following the Christmas tree lighting felt like a dream, each one unfolding with the quiet simplicity of small-town life, yet tinged with the excitement of new possibilities. Winter had fully settled in Willow Creek, and the town was alive with the festive spirit. Wreaths adorned the doors of every home, twinkling lights lined the streets, and the scent of pine and cinnamon lingered in the air. The snow continued to fall in soft, gentle drifts, turning the world into a snow globe that felt almost too perfect to be real. Elliot had never imagined that his life would feel so full, so settled, and yet so filled with anticipation. There was a certain peace in knowing that he had made the right decision by staying in Willow Creek, and an even deeper joy in knowing that Lily was a part of that decision. Every morning when he opened his eyes to the sight of the snow-covered landscape, he felt more certain than ever that this was where he belonged. Today, Elliot found himself standing in the kitchen of his farmhouse, the scent of freshly brewed coffee filling the air as he watched the snow fall outside. It was one of those quiet mornings where the world seemed to slow down and give him a moment to be simple. The farmhouse was warm and cozy, the fire in the living room crackling softly in the background, and for the first time in what felt like forever, Elliot had no pressing matters to attend to. His thoughts drifted to Lily, as they often did. They had spent almost every day together since the night of the Christmas tree lighting, each moment feeling more natural than the last. Their relationship had deepened quickly, but not in a way that felt rushed or overwhelming. Instead, it felt like they were simply falling into step with one another, as though they had always been meant to walk this path together. As he stood there sipping his coffee and letting the warmth seep into his bones, a knock at the door startled him from his thoughts. Elliot smiled to himself, already knowing who it would be. Setting his mug down, he crossed the room and opened the door, greeted by the sight of Lily standing on the porch, bundled up in her usual coat and scarf. "Morning," she said, her breath visible in the frosty air. "I brought muffins." Elliot grinned, stepping aside to let her in. "You always know the way to my heart." Lily laughed, brushing snow from her shoulders as she stepped into the warmth of the farmhouse. "Well, I figured we could use a little something sweet to go with the coffee." They settled in the kitchen, Lily placing the basket of muffins on the table as Elliot poured her a cup of coffee. The morning light streamed through the windows, casting a soft glow over the room as they sat together, enjoying the quiet comfort of each other's presence. For a while, they didn't talk much, content to simply share the moment. It was one of the things Elliot loved most about being with Lily, how easy it was to just be. There was no pressure to fill the silence with words, no need to constantly be doing something with her. The quiet moments were just as meaningful as the louder ones. After a while, though, Lily's expression grew more thoughtful, and Elliot could tell that there was something on her mind. "What is it?" he asked, his voice gentle. Lily hesitated for a moment, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee mug as she gathered her thoughts. "I've been thinking about Christmas," she said finally, her tone soft. Elliot raised an eyebrow, curious. "What about it?" "Well," she began, glancing up at him, "my parents have been asking about you. They've heard me talk about you a lot lately, and they want to meet you." Elliot blinked, surprised by the suddenness of the statement. He hadn't really thought much about meeting Lily's parents, though it made sense that they would be curious. After all, their relationship had grown serious quickly, and it was only natural that her family would want to know the man she had been spending so much time with. He smiled, setting his coffee down. "I'd love to meet them," he said, meaning it. Lily's eyes softened, and she let out a small sigh of relief. "I was hoping you'd say that." Elliot chuckled. Did you think I'd say no? I wasn't sure, she admitted, her smile a little sheepish. It's just meeting the parents can be a big deal. True, Elliot agreed, reaching across the table to take her hand. But I want to meet them. You're important to me, and if meeting your parents is part of that, then I'm all in. Lily's smile grew wider, and she squeezed his hand gently. Thank you. I know they're going to love you. Elliot wasn't sure about that, but he appreciated her confidence. Meeting the parents was always a bit nerve-wracking, but if it meant taking the next step in their relationship, he was ready for it. When do they want to meet? He asked. Lily glanced down at the table, her fingers still wrapped around his. They're having a big family dinner on Christmas Eve, and they want you to come. Christmas Eve? Elliot repeated, nodding slowly. It wasn't long now, just a week away, but he didn't feel any hesitation. That sounds great. I'll be there. Lily's face lit up with excitement, and she leaned across the table, pressing a quick kiss to his lips. You're the best. Elliot smiled, his heart warm at the simple gesture. I try. They spent the rest of the morning talking about Christmas plans, about Lily's family traditions, and about how excited she was for him to meet her parents. The conversation flowed easily, and with each passing moment, Elliot felt more and more certain that this was the right path, that this was where he was meant to be. Later that afternoon, after Lily had left to run some errands in town, Elliot found himself thinking about the holidays in a way he hadn't before. For so long, Christmas had been just another day in the city, a time to catch up on work, to plan for the new year. But now with Lily in his life, it felt different. It felt like something to look forward to, something to celebrate. As the sun began to set, casting a golden light over the snow, Elliot made his way to the living room, where the fire still crackled softly in the hearth. He stood there for a moment, taking in the warmth of the room, the quiet peace that had settled over the farmhouse. And in that moment, he realized that this life, this home, this love, was everything he had been searching for. It hadn't come in the form of a high-powered career or a bustling city life. It had come in the form of quiet mornings with Lily, in the simple joy of sharing coffee and muffins at the kitchen table, in the warmth of the farmhouse, filled with love and possibility. As the fire crackled and the snow continued to fall outside, Elliot smiled to himself, feeling a deep sense of contentment settle over him. Christmas was coming, and with it a new chapter in his life, a chapter filled with love, with family, and with the promise of a future he could finally see clearly. This was what he had been waiting for, and it was only the beginning. If you like this chapter, leave a comment, share, and like. Don't forget to follow, and stay tuned for Chapter 13 of Autumn's Embrace.